Hi there. If you've been following this series for runners, you know that we strongly recommend following a consistent weightlifting routine to become faster and more durable. But honestly, the one thing you're more likely to do on your own and can do on your own is stretch more often and warm up more effectively. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 moves that hopefully will be better stretches than you've ever been given to help you get more flexible overall, but more importantly, in a way that transfers to better running performance. As always, the educational component of this video is important to us, and we want you to understand why we have so much enthusiasm for teaching these stretches the way that we do, so you can perform them correctly, but also prune away all the ineffective routines or exercises you may have been doing that haven't gotten you very far. Okay, so what's important to understand about getting a muscle longer or becoming more flexible is that it is an active process. You have 2 ways to get a muscle to lengthen. You can teach a muscle to lengthen, or you can punish a muscle. It's kind of like raising a kid. Right? You have 2 ways to change their behavior. You can take opportunities and make them teachable moments, or you can take opportunities to punish a muscle. Let's start with punishment. Getting your body in a position of stretch and just cranking on tissue until it hurts and it feels like a stretch and you actually have like some kind of pain in that muscle is punishing a muscle. Yes, you will increase the length of that muscle temporarily. It may be due to your nervous system toning down and pretty much raising a white flag. That has done nothing to prepare that muscle to work as a teammate in a more complex role like running or any other athletic activity. So, we're going to shift gears and we're going to try to teach muscles to get long. During any motion, when one group of muscles has the role to contract, to produce a motion. So I'm just going to use this basic biceps curl as an example. My biceps muscle is the prime mover here. It's called the agonist of this motion. It's producing the motion. We have teammates on the other side of the limb, on the other side of the involved joints, the triceps, that have to permit the motion. So during any motion, you have teammates. You have some muscles or teammates that are producing, and some muscles that need to know their role and lengthen to permit motion around those joints. So during stretches, you don't want to think about just cranking on tissue and punishing them and forcing them to get long. You want to teach them how to get long. And the best way to teach, let's go back to our biceps example, the best way to teach the triceps to get long is to contract the muscles on the other side of the arm. So for a little foreshadowing here, if I want to lengthen the muscles on the front side of my leg, okay, if I went, like using my example, my triceps, we're trying to lengthen the triceps, I got to flex the biceps. If I want to lengthen the muscles on the front side here, I got to contract the muscles on the back side. That's improving neuromuscular teamwork in a way that will transfer to activities in which I need this full hip extension for good running mechanics. I need these muscles working together. I can't just punish the muscles that have been acting tight. Let's get to the stretches. Okay, the first stretch, which I just began to demonstrate, is a stretch for commonly tight muscles on the anterior chain or the anterior compartment of the thigh, the quads and hip flexors. I want you to get on one knee and organize with your knee right underneath your hip or your kneecap right underneath your pocket. You can start by putting one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and pulling your heart and pulling your belly back. So your belly will be nice and tight and you're not sticking your chest out. Okay, pull your heart back, pull your belly back, and keep it there. Next, you're going to take your free hand and you're going to stick it right on your butt. You're going to dig your fingers into your glute muscles and you're going to try to contract your glute muscles. Make that muscle as hard as possible. You're not leaning forward, you're not arching back, you're not using positions to punish. Okay, you're activating to elongate. You're going to contract that muscle, squeeze that muscle as hard as you can, and you're going to feel a stretch in the front of your thigh. You can also think about pushing your knee down into the ground, getting that thigh nice and long. Push the kneecap down into this yoga mat. Contract this muscle, push the knee down. Next is you're going to reach up and you're going to try to touch the ceiling. Don't lean back, try to touch the ceiling. Keep pushing your knee down, touch the ceiling, touch the ceiling. And the last step here is to teapot over to the other side. Quickly, I'll give you a front view here. You will hold these positions for like 3 to 5 seconds, and then you'll relax. You can perform that 3 to 5 times, and then move to the next side, and then ultimately move to the next stretch. From the front here, I'm pushing my knee down into the ground. Okay, I'm not extending toward you, pulling my heart back, pulling my belly back, taking my right hand, digging into my glutes, contracting that muscle. I then, keeping my chest back, reach up to the ceiling, try to touch the ceiling, get as much length between my kneecap and my fingers as possible, and then teapot, okay, to the left, and then come back. So I'm using my abs, my glutes, my abs on this side of my body to drive length, to teach these muscles to get long versus punish them. Next, for muscles that are tight on the posterior chain or posterior compartment, mainly the hamstrings and lower back, you're going to start on one knee with your knee and your heel kissing. That's the starting position. The legs are in line with the knee and the heel kissing. Then you're going to have your fingertips on the ground right outside your foot. Slowly you will lift up to the ceiling and then pump back down. You are thinking about pushing into the ground and extending this front leg actively. Teach the muscles on the back side of the leg to lengthen. Push into the ground, straighten out the knee, come back down. Just follow my cadence. Straighten out the knee, come back down. Now, that's very difficult for you. We have a modification, and that's to use yoga blocks or something similar to build up the floor. I want you to put your hands, palms, fists, or fingertips on the blocks. Do the same thing. Push down into the blocks. Extend the knee. You can also pull those front toes up as you come up and then go back down. Push, extend and lift, come back down, and that will hit the entire posterior chain or posterior compartment, including your calf, with a good multi-segmental stretch. From the front, just to see, I start with my knee and my heel kissing. Okay, put my fists on my yoga blocks. I look down, I straighten out, I pull the toes up, and I come right back down. Push into the blocks, extend the knee straight, come right back down. And for the last stretch, my favorite stretch, squat Spider-Man. Now this is for often neglected compartment or medial chain, the inside chain of muscles. Primarily the groin muscles, adductor muscles, what may feel like upper inside hamstring muscles that are kind of a hard to reach place to stretch. So we're going to start. I'll give you the front view because that's going to be more critical for this setup. You're going to start on that one knee or half kneeling position. Whichever side is forward, you're going to step it a few 3 to 6 inches forward, then 3 to 6 inches out to the side. Then from here, you're shifting straight ahead. You're not going to shift sideways. You're going straight ahead down to the ground. Your toes and your fingertips are in line with one another. In this position, throughout the entire stretch, push your foot down into the ground. Take your elbow, push your knee out, but keep pushing your foot down. Push your knee out. Third step, you're pushing your knee into the elbow. Okay, again, toes are in line with your fingertips. You're pushing your foot hard into the ground. You're pushing your knee out, and then you're pushing in against your elbow. You can't really see that, but if I took my elbow away, my knee's going to fall in because I'm pushing that knee in. And hold. You're going to feel a big stretch on the medial compartment or medial chain of the thigh. From the side, okay, I start in that half kneeling position. I move my foot forward 3 inches and then out 3 inches. I get my hand down. Hips are pressed down. I take my elbow and push out. I take my knee and push in against the elbow. If it's difficult for you to get down to the ground, or you end up kind of rounding your back and you don't have the extensibility in this back leg to get down there, I want you to get your yoga block or your stack of pillows or a medicine ball or a basketball. You're going to put that here. You're going to line that yoga block up with your toes, just like my hand was. You're going to go down to the yoga block. Now, push the foot into the ground. Push the yoga block into the ground. Push the knee out. Push the knee in against the elbow and hold. 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. And then back into the stretch. Push the foot into the ground. Push the yoga block into the ground. Push the knee out. Push the knee in. And hold. Between the half-kneeling hip flexor stretch, the active hamstring stretch, and the squat Spider-Man stretch, you've really given yourself a three-dimensional active warm-up for the lower body. You can perform these exercises as often as you like, but definitely install them as a warm-up routine before you run. I hope you found this video, hopefully not too long, hopefully educational, and I hope we can connect with you, whether you inquire about our personal training services, our running assessment, or you just reach out and connect with us on social media. We're Elite Health Services on Facebook and all one word, Elite Health Services on Instagram. Hope to connect with you soon.